So earlier this week, Secretary of State Jim Condos announced that he was going to be retiring this year. He's finishing up his term, and he'll be on to different pursuits in January. And I wanted to take a moment, first of all, to give credit where credit was due. I think one of the things I can say about Jim Condos is he was a strong advocate for paper ballots. A lot of folks in Vermont may not even realize I've never voted anywhere other than Vermont. That in other states they have these electronic voting machines where you go in and you push buttons, and so if power goes out, the machine gets damaged, you're in trouble. And one thing Secretary Condos always did was he was a strong advocate for we need a paper trail. We got to have paper ballots. We've got a way to have a way to verify the election. And in that regard, I give him a lot of credit, and it's one of those places that we definitely had a lot of agreement there. Um, but I think there's certainly some disagreements. You can search YouTube and find a conversation I had, a couple conversations I've had with Secretary Condos. First, when I was a legislator, and my concerns with same day voting. Vermont is the only state in the country that allows same day voting with no voter ID. There are other states that do same day voting, same day registration, sorry. But every one of those states has a voter ID law. Vermont does not. I thought this creates some potential problems. People showing up on election day and we can't verify their ID. And that brings me to kind of a bigger issue. Is I'm sure Secretary Condos wants his legacy to be that he maintained and prevented access to voting. But I think one of the places where he and Democrats across the country have been a little bit weak is maintaining voter integrity as well. The Republican Party wants to make it easier to vote and harder to cheat. And so I think there's a lot of opportunities for Republicans who are looking to fill this vacant seat. And while nobody has come forward yet, I don't have any hot breaking news to give to you. I do think we've got a number of people that I see that are in the Republican Party that could step into this role and make it a competitive race. The first person I think is our House Republican leader, Patty McCoy. She was a town clerk for years. She's been leading Republicans in the House. She would be a phenomenal candidate for that seat. I know other folks have talked to me about Dustin Degree. He's a former House rep, former state senator, now working in the Douglas administration. He could be a great candidate as well. Folks have asked me to get in touch with Dan Feliciano, who's done some statistical analysis of voting patterns and really demonstrating that Vermont's elections, we're secure as best that we can tell. So there's a number of Republicans out there that I think could be great, and there may even be other candidates who are just hearing this news this week, thinking about, hey, is this a seat I want to run for? It hasn't been open for quite some time, over 10 years. So if anyone's thinking about running for this seat or any seat at all, make sure you go to the state party website, vtgop.org. We've got a candidate inquiry form there. And filling out that form just means you want to talk to somebody. You want to understand maybe a little bit more about the job, what it takes to run a statewide race, or some of these other House and Senate races. And I think the Secretary of State position is one that Republicans have a good chance at being competitive for. There's a lot of energy on our side to make sure that we have elections that everyone can have faith and confidence in and continue. I don't think we've seen any major issues of fraud, and we want to make sure that we keep it that way here in Vermont. So again, check out our website. And if you know any of those folks, encourage them to consider running. The party's going to be stronger the more people that we have running, and I think the Secretary of State opening is a great opportunity for